Hi everybody, I'm Joey Paul and I'm an indie author, and today we're going to be doing a tag. It's the What I Struggle With tag, which was created by Mike Frazee Wrights. His channel is linked below, and I was tagged by Dal Cesaruno, basically telling me if I wanted to do the tag, and I hadn't, I was tagged. So I apologise for the very white background. My office was decorated yesterday and we haven't yet had a chance to put everything back together. I basically told B that as long as it was painted and I could record my video, I didn't really care what it looked like. So yay. But moving on with the tag. Basically, this is the tag to talk about what you struggle with as a writer, as an author, and I have a few thoughts and feelings on this. I struggle with being productive. And I know what you're thinking, but Joey, you're always productive. No, I mean, I struggle with the idea that I have to be productive to be worth something and valid as a writer. I struggle with that frequently, often. I'm always trying to tell myself that I just need to push through and keep going. Like if I write 16 chapters in a month, why couldn't I do 20 or 24? And just like stuff like that. And I'm very hard on myself in that regard. I don't know whether it's because it's tied into that whole idea that as a disabled person, you must be productive or worth something to society to therefore be a valid member of society, or whether it's just my own mental health stuff. Who knows at this point? But it's something that I've really struggled with. It's one of the reasons why I am so organized. I figure that if I organize my time and if I work out exactly what I'm supposed to be doing when, then I can justify taking the time off, which is something else I struggle with. I struggle with taking time off because it's time away from work. It's time when I feel like I should be going back to that productive thing. I should be being as productive as possible. And I really struggle with understanding that you need time and self-care and all of that. And I'll get to the rest of that in a moment. But the productive side is a side that I've struggled with, not really the whole of my career, because for a long time I was doing writing and something else. Like I was doing writing but wasn't published yet, so it didn't really have a deadline, or I was doing writing and was published but was writing 2 books and I was writing at the speed I wrote, or was writing and getting my degree, and it's only really been since I graduated from uni, got my degree and all the rest of it, that I realised that writing is the only thing I'm supposed to be doing. And even though I'm writing and juggling being sick, it doesn't seem to work that way in my head. It doesn't seem to justify it to me. So I feel like I have to be this productive person where I bang out chapters every day, micromanage my time to the point where I know where I'm supposed to be every moment, every second of every day, and that I should spend the majority of that working. I'm trying harder to be kinder to myself, going on to the self-care aspect. I really struggle with that. I don't know whether because the majority of self-care websites are aimed at people who are abled, so a lot of it will be things like take a walk or do yoga or do this or do that, and it's stuff that I either can't do on my own or can't do at all, and so I have to kind of like make my own version of it, and that's not a jab at them, it's just the way the world works. I personally find that if I'm reading a book, I look at it as kind of like a bit of work and a bit of relaxing time, and I don't really have a lot of things in my arsenal that I can use as self-care. Like I can sleep, but I sleep a lot anyway, or I can read, which I read a lot anyway, or I can do what exactly? I used to cross stitch, but I don't do that anymore because my hands cramp up too much, so I can't do that. I can watch some TV, but I don't really have anything that I want to watch. So all these things that like people are using for self-care and stuff, I don't really find them applicable to me, and because of that I kind of skip that step. I kind of go, okay, well this isn't applicable to me, so I just won't do it. But it's things like how I only take days off because I set myself that goal at the beginning of the year to have at least 1 day off every month where I did nothing work related, and I don't count that day as MIPO because MIPO could be an easy cheat of that day, but it's not. But I also struggle with imposter syndrome. I kind of feel like even though I've been here for years, and even though I've been doing this for over a decade, and even though I've been published for over a decade, that I kind of feel like maybe I'm not supposed to be here. Like it was a clerical error and I wasn't supposed to make it this far. And soon enough, everybody's going to work out that I'm a complete fraud and call me out on it. And I don't really know how to deal with that, because I know it's something that every writer, author struggles with, and every creative person really struggles with to some level. And I guess I struggle with how to push that aside and deal with the thoughts that go along with it. I have depression, I have anxiety, I struggle with that, and I struggle writing while actively fighting that. But when the imposter syndrome comes, it usually comes with a big side order of anxiety, and it doesn't really help me stay productive, which then feeds into the first thing that I struggle with, which is, not knowing how not to be productive. So it all is a vicious cycle that feeds itself over and over and over again. And I really, really wish that there was a simple answer to stop myself from feeling this way, but unfortunately there's not. And it's just a case of having to cope and having to learn coping mechanisms and having to schedule my time and try and ease off a bit, because I struggle with saying no to both myself and to other people. So I struggle with saying no to myself that, hey, just because you feel inspired right now doesn't mean that you should write 6 chapters to catch up on yourself, because you've had a hard month, and you really should just leave it as it is. And while I spent the beginning of this month in hospital, I really struggled with my doctor saying I couldn't write at all, because he was really worried about the level of work that I was putting myself through. And he basically sort of said, you can't write, you're not here to write. If B brings in your writing stuff, I'll be very annoyed. And so I felt very guilty that I wasn't writing, that I had all this downtime with my tablet and my keyboard and all the rest of it where I wasn't writing, even though I was in hospital and had pneumonia and was really, really sick and could barely hold a conversation with someone, but I was supposed to be writing. That doesn't make sense to me, but my brain decided that it did make sense. But yeah, it's one of those things that I really struggle with. And I know that a lot of people see me as a very productive, prolific author, and I am prolific in the fact that I've written a lot of books, and I am productive in the fact that I generally 9 times out of 10 manage to hit the goals that I set. But there's a lot of struggle that goes on behind the scenes that I don't think a lot of people are aware of. And that's not a bad thing. You don't have to be aware of it all the time. I just mean, I think they think that I do it, I cope better than I do. And yeah, I don't. I'm human, I have mess ups, I have mistakes, I have moments when I wonder if I'm really worth doing this, whether this is really the path for me. And then I wake up the next day and I go ahead and do it, and yeah. So yeah, those are the things I struggle with. Those are the things that really, really I find hard in the writing process. Other than like editing, there is no one part of the writing process that I really, really struggle with most. Editing I struggle with most because I think it means it's that added pressure of having a deadline and having to change the book in a way that maybe I didn't foresee at the beginning. So yeah, that's a bit I struggle with, but this was more about what I struggle with as a writer than the process. But yeah, so if you are watching and you haven't done this tag and you would like to do this tag, then consider yourself tagged. But that's all I have time for today. So if you want to support my channel, you can comment or subscribe. I post new videos on Thursdays, and sometimes I post them on Sundays too. You can find me all over social media, and my books are available everywhere. And don't forget to pre-order Dying Thoughts 8th Ending, and if you do pre-order, don't forget to pick up the swag, all the links to which are listed below. Thanks for watching, and remember to keep writing. Bye.